as a founder, you're dealing with so many competing problems all the time. There's so many demands on your attention. And again, this is a two-pronged question. So firstly, how do you manage your personal productivity and accountability as a lead? And then my second question is, more importantly, how do you stay sane and maintain your mental health as a founder?
Yeah, great questions. There's a lot in there. I guess I'll take the first one first. Thinking about how I manage my time and schedule. Really, honestly, Zara, this has changed so dramatically over the last 10 years. I think I've been generally good at adapting my personal habits and schedule to meet the requirements of that stage of the company's evolution. Back in 2016, a year and a half after we started the business, again, I mentioned that from day one, BridgeU was a very global business. We were selling to high schools in a number of countries from almost the get-go. And so and we started to realize there was a real pull towards Asia. And I started traveling out there a lot. And in 2016, I put a proposal in front of my investors that would ask them to fund the expansion of our office infrastructure and talent. So to start an office in Hong Kong. And they signed that off, thought it was a good idea, and said, okay, Lucy, get on a plane and off to Hong Kong you go. So I went to Hong Kong for 9 months, hired in that early team, worked odd hours, quite honestly. Obviously, I was working Hong Kong hours in the morning and then European hours in the evening, and often getting on a plane and going to other parts of Asia to visit high schools or to attend conferences and fairs. Then I suppose in 2020, when international admission offices obviously ground to a halt because admission staff could no longer travel to meet prospective applicants or visit schools or attend, again, university fairs, we had quite a unique moment in time opportunity to really sell our kind of digital student recruitment solution into these admissions offices. And so I probably spent 7-8 hours a day on Zoom calls pitching these institutions, because again, it was a moment in time opportunity. This completely out of the blue sort of black swan event had happened, and that really presented a major challenge for these international admissions offices, a challenge that I think we were very well positioned to meet. And then I guess in the last sort of 2.5 years, my day-to-day has changed very significantly again. As I mentioned, we've leveled up the leadership team very significantly in the last couple of years. I've been focused a lot more on how I can empower them and enable their success. And so I guess just highlighting a few of these examples for you, I think the common thread is I have grown and evolved with the company. And to your second point, what that means is I have, in many occasions, I'd probably say most occasions, been willing to put the company's needs first. That hasn't always meant that has challenged, that's come up against my own needs, but in certain instances it has. And I think that's part of me sometimes thinks that's what it takes to be a founder. But I also think that can be one of the biggest challenges of being a founder, speaking to some of the points you made around sort of mental health point. I think over the years, something that's been a complete sort of saving grace for me has been my peer network of founder CEOs. I'm very lucky to have had fantastic sort of founder peers that have tracked with me at different stages over the last 10 years. The journey is relatively unique, particularly if you are a technology startup with having raised venture capital or private equity, and having that sort of intimate, trusted network of founder CEOs who you can lean on, but also who can help you take a step back and gain perspective, I think has been invaluable for my mental health over the last 10 years.
Have you found formal mastermind type groups to be particularly helpful, or is this more informal connections with other founders and CEOs?
Yeah, it's both, Zara. Again, in the early days, my investors were fantastic about introducing me to portfolio founders, a number of whom became close friends. And then in the last 6-7 years, I've been part of a forum. There's about 9 or 10 of us in that forum. We've been together for 7 years now, and that's become this really invaluable kind of connected tissue throughout the ups and downs of what has been for everyone really a very tumultuous 5, 6, 7 years. And knowing that group is there and that we have these regular touch points and that we have a level of vulnerability that we can share, which is sometimes hard to share with others, even others who might within close friends or family units. Again, I think for that whole group, for the 9 or 10 of us, I think has been extremely important.
Definitely having people there that perhaps not exactly if you're building different companies, but as close to as possible, understand what you're going through. And especially 7 years, being through all of those stages together is incredibly important. And I think very special to have a bond with people that have seen you through those different stages and have maybe felt some of that themselves.